Thank you very much. Mr. Demote from San Joaquin County. There you are. Yes, sir.
Terry Dermody, San Joaquin County. I'm referring to page 3 and specifically new C1 capital C. What caught my attention was the reference to reporting. If I'm a water user and I'm going to be making this report, presumably there's some sort of a form that I would be using, but what is the reference point from which I report that I have reduced? Is it a date? Is it amount on a certain date? Is it a net reduction?
Ms. Davis.
We were striving with this policy to work with the existing requirements under the urban water management plans and ag water management plans that do have reporting requirements in them. So what we have added here is in this section, there's 2 statements or key statements. One relates to that we're asking that something be included in the urban water management plan or the ag water management plan that addresses the expected outcome of the projects that they are implementing. So in an urban water management plan, because I'm most familiar with that, I have requirements to report in 5-year increments on all the different sources of water supply I have and the different programs that I'm implementing and what my demand has been. And then I project out into the future for the next 30 years the projects that I intend to implement, the estimated water supply that I'll receive from those projects, and the estimated demands of my community. And then I'm looking at the balance between how much water I have and the water demands that I have. So what I would anticipate is adding a section to those existing reporting requirements that would simply address, here are the actions that we believe will reduce reliance on the delta, and here's the expected amount of water conservation or new water supplies that we're developing from these various programs and projects, and that they would be reported in exactly the same format going forward over the 5-year increments for the next 30 years. And then, of course, over time, as subsequent urban and agricultural water management plans are implemented, you're going to have the backwards look, what did we say we would do, and you would have the forward look, what more we think we're going to be doing. And you will get a sense over time of how different projects and programs are improving efficiency as well as adding diversification of water supplies to that particular agency's portfolio. So there's an existing structure in which we would anticipate this reporting requirement
would work. These examples are discussed in Appendix P of the Delta Plan, is my recollection, right? Is that right? Comparable ones.
Comparable. I think in general terms, we can add language if that would be helpful.
Well, what would be helpful to people who are reading the regulation and attempting to comply with the regulation and to order their business under the regulation would be to know what point in terms of a date in time that they would measure their usage against, so that if I had a crop in 1998 that used X amount of water, and in 2005 I had a different crop that used 2X amount of water, what is the measuring point against which I would determine whether I have reduced my reliance on the delta?
It would be the next reporting period would be in 2015, which is when the urban and agricultural water management plans are due, and you would be comparing what you plan to do 2015 going forward with your previous urban or agricultural water management plan For agricultural water suppliers, their plans were due in 2012, so they'll have a comparison between 2012 and 2015. For urban water management suppliers, they had an obligation in 2010. I think they actually submitted their plans in 2011, and that would be the baseline for the comparison with 2015.
All right, so that I would be comfortable then if I had overused water in the Delta in my previous report, but I had come around to understanding the importance of reducing reliance on the Delta, and I just used perhaps my full contract amount. I would have reduced.
Nice try. Full contract amount is including water you've never gotten and never used, right?
I'm merely asking, what is the reference point?
Nice point. Nice try. The notion, I understand this is an illustration where you guys talked me into a position we didn't need to be rigid in this and give water districts their own discretion. This is an example of the kinds of problems that will pop up when
Exactly.
people will say, well, I've got a full contract amount, I've never used the water, therefore I've reduced my use of water.
Precisely. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I think you have substantial problems arguing that with a straight face, but sure.
Some do and will argue that.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
And that is why if people looking at the regulation, when they're arguing that they met the regulation, it would be good.
What do you suggest instead as a measure?
I would suggest that you put a date.
Pick what date are you suggesting?
Whatever date you want to put in.
Okay, staff, if you take a look at that.
If it's
I
a
predict
date,
that.
or it could be as of the adoption of the Delta plan.
Okay. Take a look at it.
Anything less than that leads people to have to guess at the meaning of your regulation as applied.
Okay. Thank you.